And you're not probably thinking of the same raw dogging.
No, I mean, I know there's a term. I don't exactly know what the sort of dirty term means,
right.
but I know that exists. But I'm trying to think, because you phrased it as a summer trend. What's the new summer trend called? Raw dogging? I mean, look, I don't like mustard and ketchup and relish on my hot dog, so maybe it's just eating a plain hot dog. I raw dog it all the time.
Raw dogging for years now.
I raw dog it at the Mariners game every time I go.
Ah, God!
Recorded live from Studio 12A in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. You're listening to the Josh and Friends Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to the Josh and Friends Podcast. I am your host. My name is Josh. And this week, Lee Olson returns to talk about some fun stories going on in the news, including a price war battle within the fast food restaurant industry, the rising costs of concerts and artists who were bailing out of their tours, some big rule changes within the Miss USA pageant, and find out what's going on with the new trend they are calling raw dogging on passenger flights. So let's get this party started and help me welcome back to the show. He is the man who really needs no introduction whatsoever. He is my old pal, the one and only, Mr. Lee Olson. Woo! Lee Olson! How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. Kind of tired. Shouldn't be tired.
You're looking fancy, though.
Well, sometimes you really got to dress up and put it on a Rainier beer polo shirt. It's not actually a Rainier.
That's
not
half the
actually
battle.
a Rainier beer. Yeah,
it's not actually.
No, it's the Tacoma Rainiers baseball team.
Oh, okay.
Same logo, and honestly, just as classy. So,
be a whole lot cooler if it was the Rainier. Yeah, I see that. I keep seeing ads for Rainier beer like stuff. Like, so they're selling stuff now. I don't know if I mean they've always sold stuff, but like they're really like. I guess. Well, yeah, but do they sell beer anymore?
That's what I was just going to ask: is do they sell beer? Because maybe they're just an apparel company now. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't feel like I know one person that drinks Rainier, and it's out of pure novelty.
Oh, right. Are they the ones that used to have the? Did they have the little grenades, or that was Mickey's? I know Mickey's had those.
Mickey's and Olympia had little.
I think I saw Coors too, like regular Coors had.
They them probably probably a bunch of them did, but I remember Mickey's grenades, and then the Olympia had the Stubbies.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so awesome. I mean,
but it is weird
novelty. But
it is, and it is weird when people drink like something that, like it's a taste thing, but you're going to drink for novelty for a long time. Like I get like once, right? Like, haha, hey everyone, I got I don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's not great. It's okay, right. I guess.
But like make a point of drinking something that isn't tasty. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. I guess some people like taking jokes too far.
So, Lee, last week was 4th of July. Did you do anything fun?
Yeah, actually, it was cool. We went to, so Brian, Brian, his daughter discovered last year that she kind of wanted to get into car racing. She was actually
how does that happen?
So she was she was into 4-H for a long time, and she was like raising, I don't know, like guinea pigs or whatever. And they went to the Evergreen State Fair for one of the 4-H events up in Monroe, and Evergreen State Fair has the Evergreen Speedway, and they just wandered over there, and she watched the cars racing. She's like, whoa, what is this all about? And, Brian is always challenging her to, go after something if you want it. And he said, well, let's learn about it. She went and learned about it and learned that there's a youth Hornet racing league there where you can race before you're 16. And she said, well, I'm kind of curious. And he said, if you're curious, let's go figure it out. So they bought a race car and
it's kind of an expensive hobby, right?
Well, it is. But I mean, think about like all the hobbies that kids do. Like if they get into, I don't know, snowboarding or whatever.
Hockey.
Hockey, lacrosse. I mean, like all the travel and all that stuff. Like I bet it's comparable because the car was a couple $1,000, trailer, all that. But like I bet lacrosse adds up pretty quick, and every hobby that anybody does is super expensive. So this one just feels more expensive because people say, whoa, you bought a car? It's like, well, yeah, it's probably less than hockey goalie equipment in hockey.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, we went there and she had done a couple practice sessions and she's 14. And it's a manual transmission race car. So she, was brand new to it and she did really well doing, kind of her qualifying and practice runs. And then she even got spun out. So she got in a little wreck and,
And this was on the 4th of July that you did this.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So did they have like a fireworks thing afterwards?
Oh
or
yeah.
what?
So the whole thing, so like we were there starting at like 11:30 in the morning because we were in the pits and we were, Brian and I got to be kind of pit crew. Like one time in order to get her ready for one of her heat races, we had to jumpstart the battery and fix her Hans device and do some other stuff. Like we had to really hustle and get her there in time. It was kind of fun, but she did the heat races and the practice races and all that. And then, before the final heat race, it was after she had been spun out and she kind of said, you know what, I think I'm done. And we all were just super proud of her. Like, you know what, it's cool. Like this was it was her first time driving in traffic ever. Around anybody.
So kids can drive in these races, but they can't drive on actual roads.
Correct. She's 14. Yeah, she's 14, so she can't have a license, but she can drive. And that's the point is
and they can race cars.
Yeah, and some of those kids are super good. They're really good.
That's wild.
And they have different classes. So like when she turned 16, she wouldn't be in youth Hornet racing anymore. She'd be in Hornet racing. And that's just, they call them Hornets or Stingers or whatever based on like the engine size or horsepower or something. But I don't know. It was really fun. We were just there being in the pit and all that stuff. And then when she said, hey, we're done, we just boxed the race car up and went up and sat in the stands. And Brian's parents were there. His sister was there. Jewel ended up showing up. And we just watched the whole thing. And it was hilarious because it's, they do all the racing, but they do like figure eight racing, which is like collision racing, figure eight, they run into each other.
Right.
Then they did figure eight racing with buses and they smash buses into each other.
Awesome.
And they jumped a limo. Like, did I send you? I thought I sent you. Maybe I'll send you a picture if I haven't. The picture of
that up.
Oh man, because I mean, you have this picture in your head of like, oh, this dude's going to jump a limo. And I don't know what I expected to happen, but he far exceeded my expectations. Like that dude he got as high as like the tower, like the flag tower. Like he had to be 30 feet in the air. Like he jumped like 200 feet. I don't know. He jumped a really long, it was super crazy. So, and then they did all that racing and then they did like a race where cars tow boats and they smash into the boats. And boats not on trailers, by the way, just boats. They just tow the boats, drag.
I like how they're doing weird. I mean, they've always kind of done weird shit just for like the novelty of it. But like Emerald Downs, did you hear what they did a couple weeks ago? They had grandparents races. Like, I'm like, they're like falling down and shit. And I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is kind of like when they did the dinosaur, the T-Rex races and stuff like that. They're just mixing it up. It's like, all right, let's make it fun for people that really don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. So, hey, if you're going to crash some buses or limos and stuff, count me in. I know Toppy.
It was fun. So it's crazy. Toppy was actually the announcer there in like 2020 briefly, but then COVID hit and then it kind of fell apart and then he moved. So like if that hadn't happened, he would have been announcing that whole race.
That is awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
it was
great.
awesome. I sent him a couple pictures while we were doing it. And, but yeah, they did that. They did all the demolition derby and the whole thing, and then a fireworks show. So it was cool.
So after that, did you go home and blow shit up?
No, it was because it got done at like 11 or 11:30, and we had boxed the race car up, but then I had to go. Jewel and I had to. She parked in the parking lot, which took another 45 minutes to get out of because there was like 13,000 people at that thing.
Wow.
So took us a while to get out of there, and then I had to go back and collect my car up. So we didn't get home till like 1.
So I was talking about this with my brother, and we were just talking about like how, the 4th of July when you're a kid is like magical. It's like it's the best holiday. Not the best holiday.
It's the best holiday.
I mean, that and Christmas are pretty far up there, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
I would because you all the adults are having fun because they're all like drunk and doing whatever. Everyone's lighting shit up. You get to light up. You get to light shit on fire and blow shit up, and you get to see great fireworks. Everyone's having barbecue and like it's just amazing, right? They're like I don't know. It's just like when you're an adult, it's kind of like every holiday is kind of like lame when you're an adult. Like it's just the drinking holidays, I guess, for a while. But even that's
I think that's getting older though too. Part of the fun of doing anything is because it's new and like it's a new experience, whatever. But also, I think 4th of July was awesome when we were in school because it's the first big holiday after you're not in school. Like you're out of
Right,
school.
right, yeah.
It's definitely summer.
Yeah.
July 4th is definitely summer, and it's a party. And then when you get old enough to kind of party on your own and drink and whatever, those are the bikini parties. Like
Yeah.
that's like we've had a lot of fun parties on July 4th. And then as you get older, and I don't know, it just sort of falls away, and then it's like, oh man, I want to go to bed. And then the fireworks are going off, and you're like, why are these people making so much noise?
And you're like, if you have animals, the poor animals are all freaking out and stuff like that, you know?
This is how people become grumpy old people, is we're doing it. Can you imagine 25-year-old us talking about 4th of July and saying, yeah, I don't know, the fireworks are kind of loud for me.
Yeah. We'd be
I'd like to get to sleep.
We'd be like, wait, that's really me? That's me in the future?
Right.
What a puss. Go out and drink some fucking booze, man.
Exactly. Get it fired up, man. Come on.
Yeah. Like Lee's like just.
Yeah. We did it. I mean, it was interesting. Brian and I were talking about, they did the demolition derby, and we kept saying, we're only one step away from actually. So they did the demolition derby and then immediately did the fireworks after. And we said, we're only one step away from mounting the fireworks on the cars and letting them shoot the fireworks at each other during the demolition. We're like, it's going to happen at some point. Our idiocracy is going to get there, where these guys are going to have Roman candles and mortars on the front of their vehicles. And that's going to be part of the demolition derby. That
does sound pretty rad, by the way. It does sound pretty awesome. So I 4th of July, did you have any food, any good food or anything like that?
No. I mean, that because of where we were at.
Yeah.
So like Brian kind of told me before we headed out, he's like, hey man, we're going to be in the pits all day and there's nothing open until kind of later. And we're stuck there. Like you can't leave. Like you're in the pit. I mean, you can walk around the grounds or something, but we didn't bring another vehicle, so we couldn't go anywhere. So I just, before I parked my car at the park and ride where he picked me up, I grabbed a Subway sandwich, which I haven't had Subway in years. I don't know. I might have been their only customer that day. I don't know it's so weird because Subway is still tasty. Like it's still as good as it ever was.
Right.
But what happened? I don't know why it's just not good enough anymore.
Part of that is it's not $5 footlongs. It's like, $12 footlongs.
True. Yeah. But I also think it's that their big thing was the bread. Like, oh, hey, you can choose your bread and it's freshly baked and whatever. And now most of us realize bread is pretty terrible for you.
Yeah, right.
So I don't know. And also other sandwich places, Jimmy John's and some other places came out and they do sandwiches really well too. So I don't know. But anyway,
a lot of their stuff is kind of the meat process. There's a lot of things that people are learning that are making
right.
Subway probably not as popular as it used to be. But I did have my famous beer brats that I prepared. But I was like, oh crap, I need buns. So I went and grabbed buns, and then I was like, well, I guess I should get a side. So I grabbed a macaroni salad, right? And I brought that home, and when we're starting to eat it, and I took a spoonful of it, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And Lee, it was so sweet that I was like, what? Why is this macaroni? So I ran over and I checked the bottom of the package. Dude, guess how much added sugar they put in macaroni salad?
What the fuck would you add?
What
sugar to that for?
What percent of it do you think was like your supposed sugar of the?
I mean, added sugar for macaroni salad should be 0.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
And not just like not on some moral ground. Like, why would you add sugar to macaroni?
It was so offensive that I noticed it. Right, like usually it'd be like, all right, it's like a couple things of added sugar. And all right, whatever.
Right,
Lee, this was 30%. 30%. I was like, what? I go, Andy, dude, this is 30%. He goes, let's fucking throw this away. We literally threw out the whole thing, dude.
We threw that away. Horrifying.
Check this out though. I had also bought chocolate chip cookies. Guess what percent sugar those were?
Probably less than that.
22%.
Yeah, that's crazy. Dude,
what is going on? Are people are the taste buds of America so dumbed down and stupid? Like
yes.
It has to be like what? Oh, so you need it needs to be, everything has to taste like ice cream? Like, yeah. It's fucking macaroni salad.
Oh, and it's so weird. It's so weird to see. I don't know. And also the effect of that. It's weird to see, like, sugar, of all the things that I've sort of changed around in my diet, sugar is the most consistent one that every time I eat it, every single time I eat sugar, I feel like shit.
Yeah.
And like, dude, we were golfing on Wednesday. I'm in a golf league on Wednesdays, and I usually bring snacks, and Jewel had some like lemon bars that she had brought home from work or something somewhere. And I ate one, and then I gave one to one of the other guys that we golf with, Will, and he's like, "Oh my God, I think I need to go to the dentist like right now, like on the way." And I was like, "Yeah," but they were tastier, but pure sugar, like pure. You could just tell you'd almost. And so, but we're golfing, whatever, and I'm like, well, these things are kind of melting. They are tasty. I don't want them to go bad. And we had there was like 4 of them in there. They were little lemon bars or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just ate the rest of them.
Yeah.
The next hole, I was so angry, I threw my club for the first time ever. I'm a terrible golfer, and I don't get that frustrated.
Was this because of your terrible golfing, or was this because
that's why, because I'm a terrible golfer consistently every week, and I've never thrown a golf club.
Okay.
Not never, but I mean, like, since I've been golfing, in the last 10, like, I don't really care. Like, I try to get better, whatever. It's not that important. I got so frustrated, I threw the golf club, and then I was like, what am I doing? And then I realized it's the sugar. I just ate a bag of sugar, and it totally made my body completely angry. It was weird to see it happen and see.
So it had the like reverse effect that spinach has on Popeye?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Sugar is anger inducing. Yeah, it's weird. But I remember my dad telling me about that. Like, he used to say, he'd wake up and he'd feel great, and then he would eat like a Danish or a donut, and then he'd feel shitty and get angry. And it took him until he was in his 50s to realize, oh, it's the sugar.
Yeah. It's funny. I see that new. Have you seen that new Bill or new? I don't know. It's been on for like a year. That Bill Maher show that he does the podcast. Mm-hmm. I love that format of like just hooking up a mic to you and like just sitting at a
sitting in a chair somewhere.
Right?
Yep.
And like having a bar situation. So he's like I don't have any sugar. He's cut out all sugar. The sugar that he gets is from like the booze. Like he does.
Oh, totally.
Right. Booze. So it's like okay, well. I still do that. So I get the sugar, but I try not to eat too much sugar, but you're right. It's like, maybe it's that sugar crash. They said that sugar is one of the most addictive things on the planet. You see those tests with rats, and like rats are just like, they will fucking kill for frickin' sugar, man. Like it's like so addictive.
It does just make a lot of sense that like in nature, that thing isn't refined that way. It's not refined that to be that bright. Like
it's
in
supposed
nature,
to be in fruit.
Exactly, wrapped in fiber. But I don't know, man. It was weird. Anyway, it was weird. And of all the things that I don't really eat, even when I'm eating kind of shitty, I don't eat a ton of sugar, and I'm glad. My body's better about it, like carbs and stuff. And like right now, I'm heavier than I was, I don't know, 6 months ago or whatever. And it's just the carbs. It's just because I haven't completely avoided bread and chips and stuff. But sugar, I can't do much sugar, so.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe that they.
I can't believe. Well, and that's
macaroni salad.
Well, it's interesting too. When we were walking back to the pits one time, looking around the grandstands and kind of at the crowd, I turned to Brian's wife as we were walking. I said, I don't want to be judgmental, and I don't often use the term wrecked to describe people, but here we are. And she just turned and said, I just told Brian the exact same thing. Like. That crowd of Americana, it's just American people. They are morbidly obese, completely wrecked, broken, physically people, like 70% of the people. Well, and by the way, all of the food options, deep fried Oreos, elephant ears, corn dogs, like pure sugar, pure carb, pure garbage, like pure garbage. And I don't have a moral judgment against that. Eat what you want and do what you want, but you can see the effect.
Absolutely. Well, if I didn't really not eat sugar, I don't think I would have even, you know what I mean? Like most people probably just would be like, eating it, and thought nothing of it. But totally. I was like, the first bite, I was like, oh God. And I tried to have another bite. I was like, what, dude,
that's how I was with those lemon bars. Like they were so, and that's what Will said, because he doesn't eat much sugar. He's like, well, these are pure sugar. To a person that ate sugar a bunch, they're probably just like, delicious lemon bar. We were like, whoa, these are way over the top. And then like an idiot, I ate them anyway. But
yeah, I mean,
I didn't throw it out like you threw out.
Yeah. Well, like, you monsters. No, the lemon. So the lemon bars, it was funny that your buddy, who was it that said that I need to go to a dentist?
It will. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny because like, that's the first thing I pictured when like biting into it. Be like, cause I have like enamel erosion. So like, I'm like, oh, they would like hurt so bad. I need to immediately brush my teeth if I bit into that. Cause I know how sweet those are.
And sugar does, like, I notice now, anytime I eat sugar, it like coats my teeth or coats my mouth. It just feels, and maybe it always did, and I never noticed it because we were just eating sugar and stuff. But like now, I just don't eat it very often, and it does. It like coats. I feel like I have to brush my teeth immediately.
Ugh. All right. Well, Lee, speaking of food, and you brought up Subway. So a while back, we were talking about the cost of fast food and the prices and how they've gotten pretty bad. Like, how much was your Subway sandwich? Do you remember? Because I remember someone was like saying, they're like, yeah, remember $5 footlongs? Oh, that is long gone. They're way past even double that now. I don't even remember what they are now.
I think the meal so it was a footlong, like turkey and provolone and I got 2 bags of the little chips and a large drink.
Oh, we're talking $20 now.
I think it was 22.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't keep the receipt or anything, but it sticks in my mind. And 22, and then the little screen popped up for the tip.
Yeah, that's great. I'm not even shy about that shit anymore. I'm like, so, I mean, at least the Subway people, they're like kind of like doing
this thing is I left a tip because they build it, I guess, but like also. Yeah, it's out. The most
ridiculous ones are like the ones that like if you ever go into like one of those places where like it's like a yogurt place, a frozen yogurt place, and then you are putting everything in, you are putting all the stuff in, and then they go, okay, that'll be blah blah blah, and then you put it on the scale, and then they go, okay, that'll be blah, and then they turn it around, and then they're like, would you like to tip 22%?
What about or at the stadium, like when I go and get a hot dog, and the dude just goes.
Oh, right. I did that. Yeah. Yep. I did that just last week.
Would you like to tip 18%, 20%, or 23% or whatever? And it's like,
or would you like to customize it? Custom, zero.
Right. You just turned around and grabbed a thing. Yeah. It was probably left over from the previous homestand. So.
Yeah. But anyway, so McDonald's had reported, their first like loss, because they jacked up all their prices and stuff like that. I know that, inflation's hitting everybody, but these there's price gouging also going around because now there's a new $5 war going on with all the fast food restaurants, and they're all competing to get all these people back because a lot of people have gotten fed up with these fast food restaurants because I mean, I see like sometimes I'll go up and I'm like, I think I went up to, I don't know what it was, like Jack in a Box recently. Yeah. And I saw their prices and I was like, what the, am I looking at this right? It was like $14 for a meal. And I was like, what? How about just for a sandwich? And they're like $7. And I was like, holy Jesus.
No, that's what I talked about on New Year's Eve or whatever. Jewel and I don't remember if it's New Year's or whatever, but we don't eat much fast food. And we stopped at Jack in the Box for like one time. And the two of us together, it was like $41. And we didn't get like we didn't get a bunch of, it was just like 2 meals. And then I think we added like a little thing of tiny tacos. And it was like and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you can't get out of anywhere now for less than $50 for a meal, I guess, for 2 people. I mean, you can for 40. But
well, so they are bringing back these $5, meal deals, and thank goodness. Here, I'm gonna play a clip of the $5 meal deals that they're bringing back here.
This morning, McDonald's is unveiling a new break for your wallet with their value meal to combat rising prices and lure consumers back through the golden arches. Starting today, for just $5, the fast food chain will offer your choice of a McDouble or McChicken sandwich, small fries, a 4-piece chicken nuggets, and a small drink at participating locations across the country. The $5 meal deal is expected to run nationwide for 4 weeks, with some franchises committing to extend the offer.
My restaurants plan to be at the forefront of trying to bring some relief to a inflation-impacted customer.
The price of food away from home rose 4% just over the last year, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. With a recent survey finding nearly 1 in 2 consumers plan to cut back on eating away from home in order to save money.
Can we talk about how ridiculous fast food prices are.
As frustrated customers feel the bite.
Almost $9 for a Big Mac.
Of prices at the drive-thru. And it's not just McDonald's not loving the impact of customers pulling back.
Eat like a king who's on a budget.
Places like Burger King
Go Biggie
and Wendy's are already offering their own $5 rival deals.
In terms of price, pretty good.
Now with McDonald's entering the battle of the buns with its summer of value, its president serving up a direct message. We heard our fans loud and clear, adding, value has always been part of our DNA. We're focused on living up to that legacy and offering delicious, affordable options.
So McDonald's, guys, has posted its prices so you can get a sense of where we stand present day versus 5 years ago. The Big Mac, for example, is up 21%. Medium-sized fries, those are up 44%. The company also adding that franchisees have the opportunity to offer you personalized and unique deals, but the best way to save money, perhaps, is to sign up for the Rewards app.
So my question is to you, Lee. My question is to you. Is this the latest gimmick that they're just going to roll out and everybody's going to have like a fake war? And then they're going to like, okay, well, come to us because we have this meal deal. And then they'll slowly start raising it back up to where it is like right now, kind of like like the basically all the cable, options now for, is it going to be like, it's probably going to be like that, right? We're like, oh, we gotta bring these guys back, and then
of course, no,
they'll slowly just bring it up, and then it's gonna be back.
Of course, this is how economics work anyway. For anything, for fast food or for anything else, is they take the price that they can get, and as long as people will pay it, they'll continue to sort of nudge that line. Professional sports are seeing this, like baseball is seeing this right now. Baseball has been charging too many people for too long, and people have been leaving the game, and they had their cable news networks and all that other stuff, and they have the blackouts, and they're trying to charge too much money. And on the horizon is they're going to have to get all the people back. That's how it works. You pay to get them in the door, then you make your money, and eventually you charge too much money and they leave, and then you gotta go get them again. So I think fast food's doing that. I think that's how economics works.
Lee, what are your top 3 go-to fast food restaurants? If you're like, all right, I'm going to go to fast food. I don't want to go to fast food, but I'm in a tight crunch right now.
Yeah,
and I need to grab something. So what are your top 3 if Jules said, hey, let's grab something to eat real quick?
Yeah, Taco Time number 1.
Okay, Taco Time.
It's it feels the cleanest, but also it's just the best. Like it feels clean and
certainly not the cheapest.
Good. Not the cheapest. No. Second would be definitely not clean, and that's Jack in the Box.
Okay.
Just a
bacon
ultimate
think about Jack in the Box.
cheeseburger.
Yeah, I think about I legit think about like a lot of grease.
Yeah.
A lot of grease
it's totally greasy. Yeah, and then third would just be, boy, I don't even know, like maybe Wendy's because of the Frosty. I don't know,
solid.
It's a long distance after that. Like, it could be Dairy Queen or Burger King or Wendy's or I don't really even know. I think it's Taco Time, Jack in the Box, and then everybody else.
I'm kind of like you as far as like I've stepped it up a little bit. If I'm gonna fucking go out, if I'm gonna just fucking wreck myself, I'm gonna I'll do the Chipotle for the step up a little bit because they're like middle of the road, and then In-N-Out, and then Chick-fil-A are the ones that.
Oh, nice.
Those are the 3 that I'll usually.
So that's there. There is Chick-fil-A here. If there was In-N-Out here, I think In-N-Out would be a clear winner at number 3, just because you can get it without the bun. And it's like, everybody, you can get stuff without the bun, but it's a pain in the ass everywhere else.
Are you still doing your, bunless?
I just kind of ebb and flow. I mean, I'm always kind of tinkering with that stuff. But it is absolutely clear now that when I eat carbs and bread, I get fat. Like I get fatter. Like and I'm not too worried about any which way because fitness isn't weight. For me anyway, fitness is exercise. So when I'm exercising, and I'm pretty fit right now, like a little bit different than when I was rucking, but like I'm working out 3 times a week. Like I'm pretty fit, but I'm also fat because I've been eating bread and chips. And then when I get sick of being fat, and rice, I actually, one of the go-to meals I have just at home, I'll just do white rice and a can of, chili tuna, Calabrian chili tuna. It's delicious. Oh man, it's so good. And then sometimes I'll dip that into or put tortilla chips in it, or not in it, but like I'll dip tortilla chips. But that's a lot of carbs, and the carbs stick. And they're not terrible carbs. They're not sugar. It's not all that. But like, yeah. So I tinker, and then when I get sick of being heavy, I switch it all up, and I go, high protein or whatever, and low carb. I just tinker around.
When Ethan was here, he was like, because you brought up chips, he was like, God, the one thing I can't get out are Doritos. I just love fucking Doritos. And I was like,
chips
the Doritos, they went on sale like a few weeks ago, and they were like $1.97. They're usually like hella expensive now. I'm like,
dude.
Whoa. So like and they're like limit 4, and I'm like, well, I'm buying 4.
I'm getting 4, right.
So
that's
like,
weird how that psychology works too. Yeah. You didn't want to get any Doritos, and now you see the deal, and you're like, well, I guess I'm getting 4 bags.
But man, like putting one of those Doritos in my mouth, man, like there's like all these different kinds of Doritos, I'm like, wow.
And they've got those chemicals dialed in. They've got those flavor chemicals. Dude, I just bought, just before we talked, I was eating, what did I eat? I don't even remember. But I had chips with it. I had chips and then just some some chicken breast. But I got these. These were in. Do you ever shop at the bargain aisle in your grocery store?
The bargain aisle. I don't know.
QFC, at QFC near my house, they have a bargain aisle where they just throw stuff that's either
scorching sauce.
Yeah, it's like these are, I don't know what brand, late July brand. Whatever.
Yeah.
Not terrible. I mean, they're but chips are really hard to.
Oh, chips are just so good. Gosh.
Oh man. This is going to be some ASMR stuff for this for sure.
That's what's always really popular when you do it.
They're scorching hot.
Oh man.
Okay. I think I'm going to sneeze here. Holy crap. They're scorching hot. You got to be careful. Okay.
All right.
Chips are delicious.
All right. Well, some other price wars that are going on, Lee. I don't know if you call them price wars, but the cost of concerts is pretty wild. Now, I don't usually go to concerts where like they're really expensive because I don't. I'm not to the level where you just don't care at all. But
not at the prices they're charging.
But if they like this, they had this one deal where they sent out this list of all these concerts. It was like $25 concert tickets or whatever. And I'm like, $25? And it was like not like $25 and then taxes and fees and blah, blah, blah. It was $25, like flat cost, right? So we're just jumping on these, like, which ones do you want to go to? Blah, blah, blah. So we started picking out some of these concerts. One of them was a concert that we went to a couple weeks ago, or last week. Yeah, a week and a half ago. And it was the Totally Tubular 80s concert.
I think I saw your thing for that. Yeah.
And it had just like a list of like all these like different performers and stuff like that. It's entertaining. It's like a lot of these are like the lead singer with their band or like the new band, so like they're like, we have Tom Bailey's version of the Thompson Twins, which is basically you just need that guy. He sings all the songs, right? It's like, right? Isn't that kind of like the deal? Like, listen, unless you have fucking Jimi Hendrix, you're not gonna, replace like a
right. It doesn't
Van
matter.
Halen,
doesn't matter who plays it, right?
Yeah.
I wonder though. Like this kind of brings me back to when we were in high school. I think 93 or 94. I went to a concert at Enchanted Village.
Oh, dude!
And it was
awesome.
Steppenwolf.
Wow.
And it was in the back of Enchanted Village.
What?
Or
Wait,
where? Totally. They had like a little tiny stage. There was probably 150 people there.
What?
And they were all just burned out hippies and whatever, right? So think about this, though. I watched that show in probably 94.
But it was like really like the...
It was real Steppenwolf. So Steppenwolf in 94 would have been, I mean...
Get your motor running.
So what year did that song come out?
Okay, so they were big in like 68. Like,
okay, so that would be like us going to a show now from 98.
That's crazy because their stock has fallen that far. I see a lot of bands that like are bigger than that, that fill, some places. That play. Hey, by the way, listen, they had a bunch of acts. Who did they have? They had Bow Wow Wow, the Tubes, Men Without Hats. I finally got to see my number one karaoke song.
We can dance if we want to. We can leave your friends behind.
They were the ones that, listen, they get it, right? They're like a two hit wonder, maybe.
Right.
Like so they started it with like, the radio version of the it's like you're gonna dance, and then they ended it with the album version of that.
Perfect. They know.
And I'm like, thank you. You guys get it. Listen, we're not here to see your other 5 songs that you did. We're here,
or your new shit.
Yeah, no. Right. Nobody dared play any new. Nobody. It was probably in their contracts to like, you're not playing it. You're not playing any new shit. No. Mm-hmm. So you have 5 songs or whatever the hell it was, which is funny because like everyone's like scrambling to set up their shit afterwards. So then they had Modern English.
I'll stop the world and melt with you.
And then they had the Thompson Twins.
Hold me now.
But it was funny on the thing. It had like a Thomas Dolby. He was nowhere to be seen. There was on other versions of this concert, maybe it's in different cities, they have different acts, but like the Romantics, they dropped out of the concert and they replaced them with the Tubes. And the guy from the Tubes, dude, Lee, this guy's 74 years old and he sounds like a 74-year-old. I'm like, wow. He's like, she's a beauty. Crazy because some of these people, like the difference of people that age is wild. Like you could see, like I went to see Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger's fucking running down the stage and he's fucking just running all over the place. And you're like, how old is he? He's like 80. And this guy, and listen, this guy's not that far behind. It's kind of like the president, and fucking, but it's like. It's crazy because like, I mean, listen, his last hit, their last big hit was She's a Beauty, which is like over 40 years ago.
Right.
So it's like,
you're 35 when you get a hit. Yeah. Now you're, I don't know.
But some of these like shows today, the reason I'm bringing this up is because, we went to see all those bands for like $25. And the place was, by the way, it was packed. Like this place was packed. It was really fun. Like everyone was dressed up like 80s and stuff. It was hilarious to like see all this, like, they're all my age or older and they're all dressed up in the 80s and stuff. And I was like, this is pretty fun. This is pretty funny. Like to see all this, like all these people walking around and stuff. And it was like a party. They had like some whatever radio station is around here. They had them doing the kind of like the promotion of it. And, it was kind of fun. But then I see like these bands so some of these shows today, they're getting pretty outrageous, like as far as like cost, which is probably why the Justice Department is like suing Live Nation and Ticketmaster.
Wow.
Because they're like, you guys have a fucking monopoly because you guys are in cahoots together. Right. This is a monopoly. And that's why the average ticket prices for some of these concerts, you've heard of Morgan Wallen, right? The new hottest guy in country. How much do you think an average ticket to go see Morgan Wallen is? Average ticket.
How much should it be, or how much do I think it is?
I knew you were going to say that, by the way.
I'm also biased because I can't name one song by him. I'm aware that he's a big artist, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, average ticket price has got to be $85.
$409.
Get the fuck out of here.
The new pop sensation, 21-year-old Olivia Rodrigo, how much do you think her average ticket goes for?
Well, now, $250? Fuck, I don't know.
$571. And finally, the biggest star of them all, Taylor Swift. So the average resale ticket price for Taylor Swift. What do you
hold
think?
On. Resale is different though. Resale is different because that's the pure market. That's what people are willing to pay.
Yeah, but Lee, you got to understand. There's the reason why that lawsuit is going on is because people can't buy tickets.
Oh, totally. Because
they can't buy the. Look, you can't buy them. Like immediately when they go on sale, you can't buy them.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift even got in trouble because she did the order thing where they did that thing, and that all got fucked up, and nobody could buy tickets.
Well,
so
right.
Basically, a lot of these you have to buy resale tickets because if it's if it's an artist like that, it sells out to first the people that.
The brokers. Yes.
And then,
that part I get. Yeah.
Then you have to buy the resale because you can't fucking buy any tickets. Because what are the tickets that are left? Oh, I don't know. Like fucking rows 1 through fucking,
totally.
25.
I mean, that happens in sports right now too. That's one of the reasons we're grateful for our season tickets to the Mariners. I mean, our 20 game plan because we can actually deal with the Mariners, but there are better tickets available through the secondary market. And those guys, all the ticket brokers buy up all the tickets. Like they get them all. I mean, the Mariners
fucking crazy, man.
But like for Taylor Swift, got to be 95% ticket brokers who buy those things up. So, but yeah, Taylor Swift has to be.
What do you think? What do you think a Taylor Swift ticket is?
It has to be $1,000.
If you want to take your daughter, I know you don't have a daughter, but just saying, if you wanted to take your daughter, who's a big old Swiftie, she loves Taylor Swift. It's like the one and only concert she wants to see all year. How much are you forking out for that ticket, Lee? Well, I'm sorry. How much
would I have to?
Yeah.
I mean, going by the other numbers, holy shit. Like if Olivia Rodrigo or whoever the fuck gets $500 a ticket, Taylor Swift has to get $1,000, right?
Over $3,800.
That's the average ticket price?
$800. I saw this one chick on TikTok last year. She was like, I'm getting ready to go to Taylor Swift. I'm just going to take you through the whole day. And like how much I spent. She spent like $10,000.
So that's the other thing though too, is people like,
it's like rich people. Only rich people can go to these fucking shows a lot of the time.
Well, it is, but it also isn't. I'll try not to get too political, but I see all these things. Oh, the economy is so great and everybody has so much whatever and whatever. That is such horseshit. There is so much fake money out there right now, and people are spending so much on credit and burning so much shit that isn't real. It causes all this inflation. Like that's. I won't go too deep into that, but people don't have as much money as it seems. It's all fake.
Well, yeah, fake. And a lot of these people, they can't see them. They can't see these artists in their own town. Like some of these people were flying to like fuck Paris and shit to go see like Taylor Swift. I'm like, you incorporate an airline ticket and the price that it's way cheaper over there. That's sad. That's pretty. Yeah. That's pretty sad state right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
I mean, I guess I envy people with hobbies. But even if you enjoy that hobby, that's a big nut. That's a big hit.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And then when you get there, of course, you got to eat something, and then you got to get some merch for your daughter, right? And we got to get Anyway.
Well, it's not for me, but I mean that's economics, and then eventually they'll have to come back, and that's why like sports sort of ebb and flow for what's popular. Like we have friends with kids. They're not playing baseball and football. They're playing like lacrosse and other shit because those other sports are too expensive. You can't be a fan anymore. You could probably go. I'm guessing you could probably go to the national championship of lacrosse for $38, right? But not the World Series.
Where is that, Lee? Where's the national championship?
We should probably Google it. National is there? There has to be one.
I mean, there has to be, right? The World Championship.
Didn't they just have the pickleball World Championships in Seattle? I don't know.
Did they?
Anyway, but those sports, that's how economics works. People will pay up until they see a better value somewhere else, and then they'll go somewhere else. And then if people want to gain them back, they have to make it a value again.
Yeah, and listen, it's how it should be working. Not to probably this extent, but they are the hottest tickets in the industry, right? So like back in the day, back when we were in high school, I remember the Rolling Stones doing these, concerts, and they were just like, I remember people like going, what the fuck? Like, how much are these tickets? Mm-hmm. I guess I'm just not going to see the Rolling Stones, right?
Exactly.
Now I saw they were saying, the Rolling Stones are, now they're like 80. So now you could probably go see the Rolling Stones. When we saw the Rolling Stones, we saw them in the stadium. The stadium wasn't completely packed, but, the tickets were also not, $1,000 thousands of dollars. They were kind of like, I don't know what they were, $70 or whatever they was. I saw tickets for their Seattle show, the Rolling Stones in Seattle, going for as little as $29. So it's like, you can see these artists. You just might have to wait 50 years to go see them. So, hey, Taylor Swift, 2068, I'll be there.
Look, I mean, it totally is. Yeah, it totally is that. And early adopters for anything. You wanted a Cybertruck, you wanted the first one out, you paid like $100,000 and waited 3 years. Now you can get a brand new one for like 75.
Oh, dude, I saw TVs were on sale for the 4th of July sale or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was like, remember how much TVs used to be?
Oh yeah,
they were insanely expensive. Yeah. Now they're like, do you want an 80-inch for $375? I'm like, wow, holy moly! I mean, I don't need a TV, but Jesus, I could fill my wall.
But that's the thing is, I don't need it, but at a certain value proposition, I will buy it. Right. None of us need entertainment, and that's what entertainment people are always fighting with. Is okay, how much can we charge these people before they say, "Fuck it, I'll stay at home and watch TV." Watch my new 80-inch TV.
Well, and then you have the other side of the spectrum over here with I don't know if it's a result of like some of because like listen, if you're going to see Taylor Swift, you're taking your daughter to Taylor Swift, you're like, this is it. This is what we're seeing this year. Yeah, we're not going to other concerts. Yep. We have other concerts that are like literally like just they're canceling their tours like all out. Like I saw these clips. I've seen so many clips of Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo. She canceled her entire tour that she had like booked up for the year because I don't know if it was the first couple, but these were like, this is in a stadium, Lee. There was nobody there.
Jennifer Lopez is canceling her tour this summer. The superstar is sending a message to her fans saying she's absolutely heartbroken.
Live Nation saying the singer is, quote, taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends. I just want to be little. J-Lo quietly canceled several dates already amid poor ticket sales. And just this week, Ticketmaster showing hundreds of seats still available at remaining shows in cities like Tulsa, Philly, and even Los Angeles, with prices running as low as $32. Writing on our website, quote, I am completely heartsick and devastated about letting you down. I promise I will make it up to you and we will all be together again. I love you all so much. I'm still Jenny from the block.
She was probably humiliated. She was like, I guess my star power isn't quite what it used to be, but she fucking canceled the entire thing.
But I think it's what you're saying. It isn't necessarily that her star power isn't as big. It's that people have to choose one star.
Yeah.
They just got to choose one thing. It's not, they may love J-Lo, but they're like, well, I only have a $10,000 a year budget for concerts, so I'll go to one.
The Black Keys, they kind of did that too. The rock band, the Black Keys, what they did was like, I think that they booked a little too big of venues. Mm-hmm. They're like, maybe we're not as big, but also everyone is touring now after like COVID. All these artists are getting back out there still like after COVID. And, the market is just flooded. Like, there's like, there's so many concerts. Like, I'm like, fuck, I don't even know what to see. Like, there's so many concerts. So that's why I usually go to like $25 concerts. Like, all right, I'll go to a $25 concert. And then we get like, cause if you're going to go to a concert and then you're going to want to like a drink, right? And those are like half the cost of like what you got to get in. Right. So it's like, all right, well.
It is interesting though that you just said that, like everybody's coming back on tour and the market is flooded. That's another thing about economics that people forget is supply matters.
Mm-hmm.
I won't go into too much with the housing market or any of that other shit. I was clearly wrong on the timing. I'm not wrong that the market is going to be flooded with housing and it's going to totally dump prices. That's how this stuff works. That's why I'm such a fan of economics. I'm just a fan of economics. It's that for concerts, for anything else. It's if you have lots of choice, the price goes down. If you don't have lots of choice, the price goes up. And as people are sort of coming out of that artificial scarcity of COVID and of, the restrictions and all the stuff, prices will come down.
Yeah.
They just will. Supply goes up, price goes down. But it's also an awesome opportunity for all the young artists and people who, like, if there's a bunch of opportunity for people to go see major league sports or major league sort of concerts and all that stuff, you don't really go to the clubs as much, right? You don't discover new people. I think this is the ebb and flow of how new people get discovered and people find, because there's awesome music everywhere.
Sure.
Right. Like, I mean, like there's There's somebody who's better than Taylor Swift playing in a fucking bar in Nashville right now or Austin. You just haven't found him yet because you're busy staring at Taylor Swift. If you can't afford Taylor Swift and you go to the bar, you can probably have just as good a time.
The power of social media is so interesting too, because now record companies, they pick and choose. They have, it's so ridiculous. This one guy was like, I'm going to show you guys something. This is what it's like being an artist today. He goes, I have this song. People love it. Like they're big fans of this song. I sent this to a record company and they're like, dude, this is fantastic. We love it. And he's like, awesome. So let's work something out. And they're like, but we checked your social media. You just don't have enough followers. And I was like, wow, like really? Like it doesn't even matter about the music anymore. It's like about like, because like
wow.
Then they have to do less, like kind of like on their end of their job. Like the whole idea of, a record company was they could distribute like to everybody. But like now it's like, I don't even know why, like, like people like you can be,
you don't need a record company.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't.
So it's
you
all
can
about
do it.
Yep.
And you don't have to go to LA. You don't have to go to, New York, or you don't have to go to Nashville. Like you can do it from your basement.
I remember one of the first people that did that was Skrillex. You remember that? That DJ?
Yeah.
That guy was like one of the first like guys that like completely did, like he became like a multimillionaire because he had like 2 or 3 big songs that made it big.
Dude.
And they're like,
that's how Macklemore did it.
Macklemore
exactly.
Macklemore too. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, like,
Same
and
era,
that era, that was the first era where people could actually do that, where you had access to a mass media and all you had to do is go get them.
Yeah.
And now we're there.
Wild,
now
man.
we're there. We're like, if you have a good product and you can get it in front of enough people, you will win. You don't need a record company. You don't need anybody else. You can get it done.
Speaking of getting things in front of a lot of people, are you a big fan of Netflix, Lee?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good service.
Yeah. Did you see the new Axel F movie?
I have not seen it. Yeah, your face there looks about how I feel about that movie before I've seen it. Like, the only movie that has lived up to any sort of hype all these years later is the new Top Gun run. My standard setting is... How
much did that shock us, by the way?
It did, because the resting state for sequels or decades on continuations of movies and stories is that they suck. They're terrible. So that's the resting state for that. You don't try it. It's a really hard thing to do. Sort of like, I don't know, covering Adele on The Voice or whatever. Like you can't, it's really, really hard to get it right. Top Gun's the only one that did. So your face tells everything I need to know about that movie, which is, of course, it's not going to be good because
everything that you could think about this movie and how it would be is exactly how it is. Exactly. Everything you like. Okay. The movie, when was the last movie that came? I think it came out like 30 years ago. I think it came out like 1994. I think that's the last movie.
Beverly Hills Cop 3? Was it 3?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So
yeah, because I mean, I would have thought even earlier than that, but okay, sure. Yeah, at least 30 years. At least 30 years ago.
They didn't need a reason. I mean, the only reason they did this, Lee, is because it's kind of like it's basically just kind of like a reunion. I felt like I was like, just going to a reunion, like all the songs they played were the same. That was kind of like, that was probably the most fun part. It was like, but who's rocking all the same songs? Like he's just driving down the road listening to like, the heat is, like, all right, like maybe it came on the radio or something like that, but.
So many of those movies are just selling nostalgia, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to relive like a little tiny bit of this thing together?" It's the part where you get to go experience that thing sort of en masse with other people who might enjoy it. But the stories are going to suck.
Oh, it was terrible. Like everything they were doing, I was looking it over at Andy and I go, "Gee, I wonder what's going to happen." He goes, I mean, it's kind of fun, I guess. I go, "Yeah, is it?" I go, all right.
Dude, that's why I loved like going to the drive-in and watching the actual original movies on a big screen. That's how you do that.
Are they, I mean, I know we always talk about this. Are they done making like, new movies? Or is it just that we don't see them or watch them? Like, I don't know. I mean, I try to watch new movies. I will always take suggestions from people. Like if especially like someone like my mom, she's like, oh shit, you got to see this. This is a great movie.
I think they are, but I think it's tougher for them. I mean, I think it's tougher for them to get through. And I remember you and I did a podcast a while ago, and you had asked me about which movies I had seen, and I totally forgot about the one that I had seen right before, but now it's on either Netflix or Prime. And it's one that really surprised me. Jewel and I went and saw it we do these things called Screen Unseen at AMC Theaters. You pay like, I don't know, $6 or something. They just show you a movie. They don't tell you what it is.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, it's like Monday nights.
Movie roulette?
It's cool, dude. And so, like, we've gone 5 or 6 times, and one of the first ones we went to, they showed the movie American Fiction, which is phenomenal.
Really?
It's really good. It's a great, well-written movie, and a critique on sort of where we are in society. I don't know. It was really surprising and really good. It's on either Netflix or Prime right now,
Okay.
American Fiction. That's one that I when you and I did that episode, like after I finished, I was like, idiot, why didn't you mention that? It was on, you just watched it. But now it's on one of those, either Netflix or Prime. People should go watch it. It's amazing. They are still making good movies. I think it's just harder to find them because there's so much money in the formulaic horse shit. Sort of like, I'm sure it's hard to find good macaroni salad because they're like, what has the market told us? They want sugar, more sugar, more sugar. What has the movie market told us? They want fucking Fast and Furious 25. They want another goddamn superhero movie. They want this horse shit shoveled down their throat. That's what they're asking for. Let's give it to them. And so nobody, like, the good stuff never really makes it to the light.
Yeah.
But it will. Yeah. People will get sick of this, and then trends will change, and they'll go back to independent movies, and then we'll get the next version of great movies. You know?
It's like it's one of those things too where it's kind of like it's almost like a lost art, because now you can do these, you know, shows that are essentially movies, and you could do like actual character development, you know, and build these shows. The dangerous part about that is if it's a hit, then they want more. And then you're like, well, that was all I have. You know, what do you want me to do? And they're like, we want you to make more. And then
that's
you're
how
like,
it's always
okay,
been.
Now I'm just going to make a pile of shit because it's going to progressively get worse and worse because I don't know where I'm going with this. And I'm talking to you, fucking Game of Thrones and fucking Dexter and all these fucking shows.
The only one that escaped that. Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad and The Sopranos, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Sopranos too.
Yeah.
But
You're
yeah,
right.
but that's always been a problem. That's why people accuse bands of selling out when they do shit. It's like, and you and I've talked about it. Like, you've got your entire life to make your first album.
Mm-hmm.
You have, 14 months to knock out the second one.
Yeah. Rarely do you get like a
right. And then you got to tour, and then you got to
twice.
do all that. Like movies. Holy shit, you got one that worked. You better already have the other one written and ready, because it's going to take, like, let's get that shit in the can. Let's go.
Yeah.
So that's how it's always going to be. It's always going to be that. And then it takes us as a society getting sick of shit, of just eating shit sandwiches. And then we get another awesome movie like Spinal Tap talking about eating shit sandwiches.
Oh, all right. Well, here's something that's new and fresh, unlike the movie industry. Lee, did you hear about the new contestant who entered the Miss USA pageant last month? Did you hear about this?
I did not.
So last month, Lee, they changed the rules of the contest and removed a long-standing age requirement. And the old age requirement was 18 to 28, which is what you'd be like, okay, well, yeah, that's kind of like the peak of, Well,
it's also when, like, if we're talking Miss America, I don't know if they allow married people in Miss. They used to delineate that, like, Miss America was single.
Yeah.
And that's the sweet spot for single. Anyway. But
so now, Lee, after they lifted that, now the age is any age. So the latest contestant was 71-year-old Marissa Tejio out of Texas.
She's the oldest competitor in the history of the Miss USA contest. Marissa Tejio is 71 years old, about 50 years older than the other contestants. This granny of 3 just made history when she took the stage in Houston competing in the Miss Texas pageant.
Marissa Tejio, Paso del Norte.
She didn't shy away from any part of it. Check her out strutting her stuff during the swimsuit competition. I feel very inspired talking to you.
That was my goal. My goal was to inspire older women and women of all ages.
Marissa's entry into the pageant was made possible because of recent changes that removed age limits. Also gone is the rule that all contestants must be single.
She went up against 100 other women. Do you think she won?
Of course, because
no, she did not win.
Oh, I was going to say because people are driven by their perceived morality more than they're driven by objective reality.
And Lee, listen, I saw the pictures. Do you think she was like as hot as like the 20-year-old?
Well, how dare you, sir? How dare you place the value on how hot they are? That's not what pageants are for. That's not why they put them in bikinis.
Listen, Lee, as the great Steve Klunk once said, she is hot for a 71-year-old.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's hot, but I guess she what she said is she knew she was going to lose, but her goal was to inspire other women.
Well, look, that's great, and if that's what that pageant wants to do for their product, go nuts. There will be benefits and there will be consequences.
It's like
the consequences people who tune in to see hot women
Sports
are not
Illustrated
anymore.
Puts who do they put on the swimsuit now? The issue of like
whatever. But that's the thing is, if they want their product to change and appeal to a new audience, that's an economic decision for them. That's a business decision. Fine, as long as they know that, and as long as
clearly different than it used to be, because Playboy doesn't have a magazine anymore. You can't have that shit out there, right? You're not supposed to have Playboy out there.
Well, that's because we have hardcore pornography on our phones.
But did you hear about?
Available.
Did you? Have you heard? Stern's been talking about this. Have you heard about what they're doing with porn? Like these porn sites, Pornhub is now banned in several states.
Oh, sure. Well, that's the ebb and flow of our conservatism and liberalism in America. Like that will always ebb and flow. What people consider decent, and
some of these states, Lee, they go, okay, if you want to enter this site, take a picture of your ID card, and people are like, well, I'm out.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, prove that you're right. Yeah.
What?
No, but that's
when you see your ID, your official ID, and scan that.
Look, that's how this shit fucking goes, though. And this, I keep getting sucked into sort of the political part of this, but it isn't wild because that's what's going to happen when people have access to power. They're going to push their agenda and they're going to do their thing that they can for as long, just like the economic thing. They're going to push it as far as they can until somebody pushes back. So right now we're in a swing back toward conservatism. Liberalism has taken some liberties. I think having men race in high school women's state swimming title, Lee, that might have pushed
the second part of this. The second part, just to continue on with this. Last month, also the first ever transgender contestant, Bailey Ann Kennedy, who's 31 from Maryland. They are going to also be competing at the Miss USA competition next month in August. So kind of weird, but again, if that's what you want it's their event. Like they can do whatever they want. It is.
And I actually prefer
that. It's probably one of those things where it's like, we're going to get more promotion if we have like 70-year-olds and transgender people in our contest. Like, well,
sure.
All right. Like, I guess.
Well, and I prefer the liberalism view of all of those things, which is, I don't give a shit what you do. Go nuts. There will be a benefit and a consequence for you economically. And if it's your business, go nuts, as long as nobody's getting hurt. I reject the part where we start to ban things and say, oh, that's indecent or that's whatever. But that's the response to hyper liberalism is hyper conservatism. And that's where we're headed. I mean, that's the ebb and flow of all of it. But for people on the super liberal side, I've been sort of warning the people on the super hyper liberal side that you're probably going to need to defend your views strongly at some point.
Speaking of new trends going on.
Yes. Yeah.
Have you heard the latest summer trend called raw dogging?
No.
Oh, come on. This should be right up Jules' alley. And you're not probably thinking of the same raw dogging.
No, I mean, I know there's a term. I don't exactly know what the sort of dirty term means, but I know that exists. But I'm trying to think, because you phrased it as a summer trend. What's the new summer trend called raw dogging? I mean, look, I don't like mustard and ketchup and relish on my hot dog, so maybe it's just eating a plain hot dog. I raw dog it all the time.
Raw dogging for years now.
I raw dog it at the Mariners game every time I go.
God. Okay. So raw dogging, Lee. Raw dogging has become the busiest travel trend of the summer. Passengers on airlines who are raw dogging, they are foregoing anything to pass the time. So no in-flight maps, no internet, cell phones, no reading material, no headphones, no music, sleeping, snacking, nothing. All you're doing is just staring ahead on the flight, just staring at like the next seat or just above the seat, just sitting there during the entire flight.
I'm all for this. I mean, it's a stupid name. Like, it's a stupid fucking name, raw dogging. But like, if they had had a better publicist, this could have been named something good. I think I love this. I think this is relativity in action, because when you have access to all the things, it means you appreciate none of them. And if you remove those things, you will have appreciation for them again. I think I would love it if there were flights where the airline said, no phones, no headphones.
Right.
We will print out a newspaper for you if you would like to read it.
Lee, I heard this story and I was like, so it's just like flying back in the 80s?
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Like, I think so long as they have bourbon on board and a 2-day-old newspaper, I feel like that would be an amazing flight. I feel like today they should make flights like that. They should make retro flights.
There's like these dudes like on flights for like 5 hours from New York to San Francisco, just staring straight ahead the entire time. People are like posting pictures. They're like, here's my boyfriend just raw dogging this entire flight.
Honestly, I love it. I think that's a reset. I think people are not good at downtime now. I love that. I think, and airplanes are a time, honestly, people should be marveling at the genius that is air travel. I mean, I've said it many times.
It is crazy
how good it is, and we take it for granted because we're too busy with the other shit. So I like it. I don't think I'll engage in it. I don't think I'll engage in it because I like my headphones, but but I do love it. I love it. I love that idea. I love that people are starting to incorporate some deprivation in their lives so that they can appreciate the abundance. I think that's real.
Well, are you going to take a nap? Or?
No.
You just going to sit there staring at the back of the seat?
It was funny. I was watching my brother like on a flight, I don't know, last year, maybe it was, or it was a little while ago. And he was just like, you know how some of the flights, I think it's like maybe Delta, they have like the tracker, and you're just like staring at that, and that does not go fast. Like you're just like sitting there watching this little plane go across the United States. You're just like staring at that. I know that doesn't count entirely, but it's pretty close. Like it's just like
how awesome and creepy would it be for an entire airplane full of people?
Just raw dog, and everyone's like,
Can you imagine being a flight attendant on that and just looking down the aisle and just,
so would you lick some peanuts? He's like,
no, thank you, ma'am. Just water, no ice.
It's like, sir, are you raw dogging right now?
I do not think that word means what you think it means.
You're like, would you wait? So, do these guys wear diapers? Like, are you able to?
Yeah. I mean, that's the question. Is like, how far are we taking this? Are they not allowed to move?
I mean, a 5-hour flight is,
I think. I mean, the way you described it, it just sort of reminds me that like people are trying to turn their attention toward the experience of flying rather than distract from the experience of flying.
Well,
like that's what it sounds like to me.
I would love to ask this question to people with kids. Do they even say, I remember you used to always like go, as a kid, you're like, I'm bored.
I know.
Does that even happen? Like, that's not even a thing anymore, right? Like, there's no way.
There's too many
iPads.
things.
There's way too many things. Like, Netflix. There's video games. There's no possible way you could be bored in 2024, right?
I don't think there's any way people can be bored if they understand how to entertain themselves, but definitely no way to be bored when you've got a supercomputer full of all the things.
My mom, her go-to response was, "You want to clean the bathroom?" I'd be like,
You're right.
All right, then I'm going outside.
Then I'd go outside. Or go outside.
And I'd pick up a piece of bark, preferably one that looked like the Millennium Falcon, and I would fly it around the entire, just fly it around and land it, and like shoot other. I would make up stuff.
or take a packet of Ritz crackers out of the cabinet down to the lake and throw the Ritz crackers in the lake and shoot at it with your BB gun.
There you go. Yeah.
For hours.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, we had a.
I like this trend. I like it.
It was a normal like childhood, right?
Well, I mean, there is no such
For
thing
the
as normal
80s.
childhood. Like, that's the thing is, I think we all look back with rose-colored glasses and oh, it was so great and whatever.
Yeah,
it just
there's so many videos
it
like
wasn't
that.
Good,
like,
it wasn't
you remember
bad.
this? Yeah, you remember this? Remember that? You remember doing this? I'm like, yeah, it sucked. Like,
right.
It wasn't that great.
Right. No,
we did it because what else were we gonna do?
Right.
We had to do that.
You remember running out of gas in your car? Well, yeah, because our cars fucking had broken gas meters like that. Yes, and we had no money.
I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, man, remember, like, you'd always like have to go to a mechanic, or you knew a mechanic by
Somebody
name.
knew a good,
Like,
who's your mechanic? Oh, Gary. It's Gary at G&L. Yeah.
I know a great mechanic. Like, now, man, like, cars used to fucking suck.
Yeah.
They used to suck.
Yeah.
They used to always be breaking down. You'd always have to be fixing them. Like, I remember like the guy down the street, Enrico and Veronica, their dad, he like always had these Yugos. I don't know if you remember this guy. Literally, legit, always working on his fucking cars. Always.
Well, yeah, because Yugos were made in the country of Yugoslavia, which no longer exists anymore. So you can imagine their manufacturing capability.
Look, it was a horrible example. I get it. But that was, it's the 80s, just fill in the blank of like, aside from Volvos, those are safe and they didn't break down too much. But all these cars, Jesus. Now, like, you could run a car into the ground. Like, when's the last time you changed your oil? I'm like, doesn't really matter. I mean, like, you could go like another couple months of that.
I don't remember who I was talking to about it, but I was saying exactly that same thing. Like, there are no bad cars anymore. The cheapest Kia that you can buy.
There are better cars. They're all pretty fucking great.
They're all pretty fucking great. They all have airbags. They all have cruise control. They all have safety features. And a Kia, if you did nothing to it, will run 100,000 miles.
And they're easy to drive. It's like,
they're easy to drive.
They said like 90-something% of all cars now are like automatic.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and like think about like back in the day, 100,000 miles meant your car was fucking done.
Mm-hmm.
Like you better get rid of that.
No, it used to be shocking. They're like, holy shit, this has over 100,000 miles. Like, how's it still running?
How is this? What? It hasn't rusted or broken, or the engine still starts.
You must have this. You must have everything like replacing it, right?
Right. Right. And now, like every car, like 100,000 is like, well, I mean, it'll be a little bit higher maintenance cost if I buy it, but okay. Like I'll get another 80 to 100,000 miles, no problem.
Right.
If it's a Toyota, I'll get another 200,000 out of it. Yeah. I don't know. There is no such thing as a bad car anymore. They're all good.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah.
Yep. Although it'll be interesting, and I'm not pro or against electric vehicles, but it'll be interesting what happens with all these batteries because you can't throw them in a junkyard.
Yeah.
Like cars just went in a junkyard and we used them, then we squished them into cubes and melted down the shit and did it again. Well, now electric cars, I don't know how they're going to get those batteries out and all those chemicals.
I mean, we don't recycle cans like we tell everybody to. Right?
No, I mean, but that's the thing is we don't recycle the way we tell people that we do recycle. So what are you going to do with it? But cars were one of the things that we actually did because they could squish them and melt them and turn them into new cars.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that with a plastic and battery acid Tesla.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not pro or they're great cars. Fine. Not for me, but the environmental part is yet to be determined. And the lithium mines aren't real great, but anyway.
All right, Lee. Well, on that note, you always end in these shows with like very positive notes here. Like,
no.
Do you have anything? You have anything that you'd like to bring up that we didn't talk about? Anything that?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think just it is interesting. I did notice, on 4th of July. First of all, they did play. I turned to Joel before they started, or right when they started the thing, and I said, 100% chance this plays Lee Greenwood's "Proud to Be an American."
Oh God!
And they finished the show with that.
God, I hate that song. I didn't like that song when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Even before it became this like symbolism bullshit.
Right. But now we are
annoying.
In our lifetime. This is as divided as the country's been, and it is. I did see a dude with a really conflicting flag. It said, "Don't tread on Trump. Take America back," and it said Trump in don't tread on Trump. And then it had a Gadsden snake. It was a Gadsden flag and a Trump flag, which I find pretty humorous that he's simultaneously promoting the executive branch of the federal government and the Gadsden flag, which is traditionally used for people who aren't a big fan of federal government.
They don't know what they're
unironically. But anyway, but I don't know. Thinking about that, the 4th of July, I'm just really super happy that we live in a country where we can all talk and shout at each other and do all this shit, and it's fine.
Yeah.
It may not be comfortable, but it's fine. We live in the freest country the world has ever known. And it's still that way. It is still that way, even if people are arguing and even if people are stupid. So, I don't know. I was just super grateful on the 4th of July. It was cool.
All right, Lee. Well, I appreciate your thoughts on politics and electric batteries and...
Yeah, it's kind of an odd... Yeah. Here's a question to fade out to. Should I color this beard?
I mean... I don't know. You just... it's just going to look weird, right? Like, I mean, you could try it.
I mean, it already looks weird because it's totally white. Like, some people have salt and pepper. Mine's just white.
Yeah, I kind of have the same kind of deal. It doesn't really do salt and pepper. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway. You know what? Hey, try it out. Send a picture.
Maybe I will.
And I'd like to see it. I'd like to see that.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. And for everyone else that's still watching somehow, hit that subscribe button. Give me a like, share, whatever. Or don't. I don't care. I really don't. Truly don't. But if you want to hit that subscribe button, it's up to you.
I don't give a fuck.
All right, Lee. All right, Lee. Thanks again for coming on, buddy.
Yeah, man.
And we'll see you again soon.
All right, cool.
For the draft.
Yes, I'm coming. Yep.
Awesome. All right. For Lee Olson, I'm Josh. And as always, thank you for being a friend.